said, "Thank you, son, for coming in. We really appreciate it, but less than 0.5% of our sales involve weight loss or fitness, and we don't think it's going to change. There's the door." And I went off on my own and began marketing myself. And 3 or 4 months later, after having some considerable success, because the products worked. I wasn't a genius. The products worked. I didn't have to be a great marketer. The products worked. And people really took to them. So GNC invited me back with a different story. And then 10 years passed, and literally 70% of their products were involved in either the weight loss or fitness industry. And a lot of those products, in fact, the majority of those products were either created by my lab or were somehow affiliated with one of the large 1 or 2 manufacturing houses that I had direct contact with. So it was an exciting time, from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. It was an exciting time for me in the supplement industry. And then, we also took our products into retail and did very, very well. We sold about $2 billion of our products into the brick-and-mortar world. And then the Internet came. And I said, wow, this is a really cool new thing. Let me try. I had one of the first 300 commercial websites that were selling products, and I got involved in marketing both nutritional and skincare products on the Internet. We had the first company that did $50 million in sales. Everybody knew the Amazon story and the this and that, but actually we were the first company to do $50 million in sales. And, things really grew, either in companies that we owned, as a business, or through important joint venture partnerships like the one we have with Intermix, which some people may recognize as being the parent company of MySpace. We did about $250 million in sales in 10 months with Intermix prior to the company selling to Fox for about $650 million. When that occurred, I said, I've had enough. I've made my money. We've done awful good, and I'm 48 years old. I need to take my lawn chair and stuff it in the sand in Florida and retire. And that's exactly what I did. And over a 3-year period, I got to know the habits and names of every seagull along the Tampa shoreline. And it was really great sitting out on the beach of St. Pete and enjoying my life. But, the funny thing was, every time I signed onto the Internet, or every time I picked up a newspaper, I saw another story about the worsening shape of America. More and more people were getting fat. More and more people were sleeping less and less. More and more people were suffering from metabolic disorder and diabetes. It just was making me very, very nervous that I was sitting in the sand while all this was going on, that people's health were worsening, not getting better. And then the economy came tumbling down. And really my passion in life for a good part of my life has been involved with feeding starving children in the world. And, we went from having 5 or 6 million children die a year throughout the world due to starvation to 9 million when the economy fell apart because people just couldn't give anymore. And that was it for me. I said, you know what, there's got to be a way to tie these two things together. There's got to be a way to tie getting better products into people's hands and having that effort, help feed the world. So I went to the only guy who ever beat me at my own game, which was marketing nutritional supplements. His name was Isaac McLemore. He was a brilliant psychologist, ran the University of California, San Diego psychology department for probably about 18 years. Brilliant guy. He was also the master distributor for a little product called Metabolite. Okay? Those of you who recognize the name, it was a billion-dollar product. Okay? And I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for anybody who can market a billion-dollar product. So I hooked up with Isaac, who was happening to be sitting in a lawn chair here in Tampa himself. And Isaac's desire to feed starving children was even greater than my own. And we decided, let's create this new company called Tampogo, whose sole purpose is to provide the world with much better products than they have ever seen before. And out of every sale, we're going to feed at least one starving child for a week. And in the past 15 months, since beginning Tampogo, we've fed over 1 million children. And that's how I measure the success of what we've done. over the next year, I hope to grow that million to 10 million. And I'm very proud to say that, a lot of the products that we have are really inspired by that goal, which is to help kids out there and also to help everybody improve their health. So the things that we're talking about today, I believe, are some of the best products that have ever been introduced to the planet, and I have a little bit of experience putting products out there, so I'm in a pretty good position to say.
Chuck, we've got a lot of comments coming through right now. A lot of people really admire the comments that you've made about helping to feed starving children. I don't think a lot of the people who are listening right now realize that, and I just want to let you know we've got several very nice comments coming through about that. We've also got a question from Debbie that you might want to address or defer until later, but Debbie asks, what do you think of the HCG diet? And I just want to know if either you or Cassie want to address that either right now or move on and perhaps get to that a little later.
Cassie, you wanna handle that?
Yeah, I would suggest that maybe we talk about. Thanks, Debbie, for asking the question. Let's go through some of this, and then we'll see how our time allows, so that we can talk about some of the most important things. Now that I've captured, and we're honored to have Chuck on the call with us, I want to make sure we maximize his impact that we're going to have with our group, our success team. So, if you don't mind, we'll defer that until the end. So let's talk, Chuck. All of these supplements that you've done, I know we've worked on ones with digestion and glandular systems, elimination, increasing oxygen, increasing energy. We know that when we talk about weight loss and fitness and health, there are several key products that I would love you to spend a little bit of time talking about. If you don't mind, let's start with, you mentioned this already, sleep. Now, I know the negative impacts that if you don't sleep, your body will not heal itself, and therefore whatever you're doing from an exercise nutrition standpoint, you are not going to get maximum benefit because your body is not totally restored. Can you talk about the product Nightcap and the V-Shot in regards to how they can impact sleep?
Absolutely. I mean, again, I mentioned signing on the internet or picking up the paper. Well, you can't do that today without seeing an article on sleep, okay? A lot of physicians and a lot of medical scientists are coming to the realization that sleep is a whole heck of a lot more important than people thought it was in the past. In fact, people are looking at sleep as being a critical aspect to, the aging process and, lack of sleep speeding along the aging process, as well as a number of other weakening of the immune systems and creating degenerative disease states. The bottom line is, you need to have good sleep in order to remain healthy, in order to remain strong, and in order to have a good quality of life. It may not be as dramatic in most people's lives as it was with, like, Michael Jackson, who he died trying to have a good night's sleep, okay? But a lot of us suffer in very quiet ways that we're not aware of, and those accumulate over a lifetime, okay? And I'll tell you what, most scientists believe right now that you literally chop years off of your life if you don't sleep well. But you know what? Almost as important as getting that sleep is, and the negative things that occur from not getting it are how you go about getting it, okay? And this is a critical thing no one ever talks about, all right? Let's say right now, tonight, it's dark, it's 11:30 at night, we walk into a convenience store. All right, there's two types of people in that convenience store at night. There are people who are trying to stay awake, and there are people who can't fall asleep. That's the two types of people that go into that store late at night. If you're trying to stay awake, you have an entire shelf of energy and pep products. You got 5-hour energy shots. You got this, you got that. You've got 100 choices of ways to stay awake. But you have no choices to fall asleep, to help you fall asleep. You go up and ask the clerk, and he's going to tell you, Tylenol PM over there. But sir, I don't have a headache. Oh, and we got NyQuil PM. But sir, I don't have a cold or flu. Well, and we don't have anything. Okay? There's not a lot. Sure, you can go to the natural food store and buy melatonin, but melatonin doesn't work. Okay? None of that works for sleep. All right? You don't really have many options when it comes to. So you know what Americans do? You know what a full 1/3 of Americans do on a constant, continuous basis, they take some type of drug or alcohol to fall asleep. The results of a study showed 1 in 3 Americans admit, and I underscore that word admit, because there's going to be a lot more than they admit to it. 1 in 3 admit to taking some type of drug or alcohol on a constant basis to fall asleep. Do you know the negative health effects of that? It's even more than not sleeping. You cannot bombard your liver. You cannot bombard your system with pharmaceutical drugs, with alcohol on a continuous basis, all right, and not expect to have long-term damage. It makes no sense. So in the particular case of sleep, if you don't have it, it's bad. If you try and get it artificially, it's bad. So what can you do? Well, the answer to that actually came to me when I was a younger kid. I was in competition for this thing called the Danforth Fellowship. Every University of America nominates their 2 best students, and all those students go against each other, and 100 are chosen. When those 100 are chosen, they are grilled, I mean, literally turned upside down by a multidisciplinary panel of experts. Well, on my panel, as I was getting grilled, I had my childhood legend. Remember, I'm a chemist. So who would my legend be? Who would my hero be? It's Linus Pauling, the father of modern chemistry, Nobel Prize winners. Linus was on that panel, and afterwards I must have said a few things that were relatively intelligent during that discussion, because afterwards he asked me to sit down and talk with him, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this is like a dream. And when we sat down, we talked about the natural products, realm. He was very interested in it, and we talked about protein chemistry, and he took me to path, and he wrote down 4 letters, GABA, and he told me, someday you're going to look at GABA, GABA. You're going to say, wow, this is one of the most important substances that a human being could possibly supplement themselves with. I thought to myself, great, and I went on to school, and I did this, and I did that, I did all sorts of things, and I never really picked that up until later in life. One day I opened up that original notebook while I was reminiscing, and I saw GABA. It stands for gamma-aminobutyric acid. It's a natural amino acid compound that exists normally in the body. It's a neurotransmitter. I went to Science Citation Abstract. I started reading about it, and lo and behold, I said, wow, this is incredible. This is unreal. This is a legacy of Pauling. And I started researching it. We started creating products. They were originally weight loss products, because what GABA does is it increases your body's ability to secrete human growth hormone by about 500% during sleep. So you lose weight, your skin gets a little bit better, you feel more vigor. In fact, on the radio now, you're hearing GABA called the fountain of youth. I don't necessarily believe, that marketing hype, but the work we've done with GABA has been so important in getting these products out into people's hands. But the real effect in GABA is the fact that it promotes restful sleep. You will sleep like a baby on GABA. You'll wake up feeling rested. You'll have incredible dreams, okay? We created a product in last November called Nightcap, all right? And Nightcap is a simple GABA liquid, 100% natural, no negative side effects. You take an ounce of it before bed, all right? 92.5% of the people who take GABA the first night remain on it at least 4 or more months. That's the strongest retention I've ever seen a product in my entire life. And the reason is it promotes healthy, restful sleep. Sure, some people lose weight. Sure, some people feel better. But the sleep effects are incredible.